If you were alone in a village, would you truly be alone? Avery had moved to a small, abandoned village on the outskirts of town. At 28, she was tired of the noise and chaos of city life and sought refuge in the solitude of the countryside. But the village, which seemed quiet during the day, took on a completely different, much darker form at night. There was an unsettling silence, and an eerie chill hung in the air. The buildings were old, crumbling, and the streets were overgrown. It felt as though the town itself was waiting for something to happen, or maybe for someone to arrive. Avery had no idea what she was walking into. One particular night, she felt drawn to an old mansion on the outskirts of the village. The moonlight cast long shadows, and the forest path leading to the mansion seemed unnaturally quiet. Not a sound could be heard, save for the crunch of the gravel under her boots. Avery had heard rumors of strange happenings near the mansion, but curiosity got the better of her. With a deep breath, she walked toward it, the sense of dread growing, heavier with every step. The heavy wooden door creaked as she pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit entryway. Dust and cobwebs covered the floor, and the air smelled stale. She stepped inside, the floorboards groaning under her weight. The silence was overwhelming, broken only by the distant sound of wind howling through the broken windows. Avery couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching her. She moved deeper into the house, each room darker and colder than the last. The sense of unease grew stronger, as if the house itself was alive, breathing. It was then that she heard it, a faint whisper, almost inaudible, coming from the farthest room. Avery froze in place. The voice was soft, but it was unmistakable. "Find me," it whispered. Her heart began to race as she looked around. No one was there. She felt a chill crawl up her spine, and a sudden, unexplainable fear took over. She turned to leave, but then a shadow moved across the wall and she spun around, eyes wide with terror. A man stepped out from the darkness, his face obscured by the shadows. He didn't move toward her immediately, but instead stood there, his presence suffocating the space around them. Avery's breath hitched in her throat as she backed away. "What do you want?" she managed to whisper, her voice trembling. The man didn't respond at first, only stepping closer with slow, deliberate movements. "Do you want to be alone?" he asked, his voice cold and chilling. Avery's heart raced, and she opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. She turned to run, but before she could make it to the door, a second man appeared from the darkness. This man, unlike the first, seemed less menacing at first glance, but there was something wrong in his eyes. A gleam of madness flickered there. He quickly lunged at the first man, knocking him down. There was a sharp sound as the first man's head collided with the wall and he slumped to the floor, motionless. Avery stood frozen in shock, too terrified to move. But then, the second man turned to her, and his eyes darkened. "I've been watching you," he said, his voice a low, almost soothing tone, "and now I have to finish this." Avery felt her body go cold. What was happening? Was this her chance to escape, or was she walking deeper into something far worse? The man stepped closer, his movements slow but deliberate. He reached out a hand to her, and though fear paralyzed her, something inside her screamed at her to run. But before she could react, the man spoke again. "I know you think you're alone, but you're never alone. Not really." He stepped forward, his hand grabbing her wrist with inhuman strength. Avery struggled, trying to break free, but it was no use. His grip tightened, and she knew then that she wasn't going to make it out alive. She opened her mouth to scream, but the sound was cut off as his hand silenced her. In those final moments, she realized the truth. She had never truly been alone. There was always something following her, watching, waiting, and now it was her time. Are you really alone, or is there always someone or something lurking in the dark, waiting to claim you?